Wizards Postgame Live.
Down in the Queen City, getting into a grudge match with the Charlotte Hornets. Bradley Beal taking the last shot, trying to give the Wizards the lead. DG gets the board and out of his hands into the waiting arms of P.J. Washington. You see the bench right there, anticipating the moment just outside. Coach Wes Unseld Jr. doing what coaches do, trying to find a way to win. Unfortunately, cannot get it done tonight. The Wizards fall to Charlotte, down in Charlotte. Wes Hall with Christy Winters-Scott. Christy will be joined by, of course, Chris and Drew here in a moment with Megan McPeak as well.
Right.
I'm not going to lie. That one came down to the wire. A great comeback. Yeah. Of course, watching Brad put up a season-high 33 points tonight. My thing is this game was not the game that we wanted to play tonight.
No, it was not. You know, too many points in the paint were given up by Washington once again, and they've had issues this season with that, but also the turnovers. They had 14 turnovers tonight, and that's just tough because if they can score 20-plus points off of those turnovers, those are empty possessions for Washington. But what I liked about Washington was their ability to keep Charlotte off of the offensive glass in the fourth quarter in particular. I thought Daniel Gafford's presence inside made a big difference in that stat. The bench points were really strong tonight as well. And Corey Kispert, can we just talk about him?
Yes, we can.
Starting the season 0 for 8 from 3, and then coming into this game going 22 for 44, and then going 4 for 7 from range tonight. Off the bench, they have to have that support. And we were talking about that in the pregame show, just about the big three, and then who else is next? Corey Kispert, that was him tonight off the bench for Washington.
Corey Kispert gave you 14 and 5 boards tonight, and since we're talking about people off the bench, and we're going to have a conversation about this guy later on in the show, Daniel Gafford. I'm just going to put a pin in that, Daniel Gafford. But back to the starting unit, looking at the big three for us. Brad gives you 33. Porzingis gives you another double-double on the season, 21 points, 11 boards, 0 for 6 from deep. But if he's giving you 21, that means he's still attacking. He hit 11 free throws tonight. Kuzma gives you 14. It's one of those nights where we talked about the others, and I know one person in mind, Denny Avdia, got in foul trouble early.
Right.
And I really think that sent the trajectory of this game in a totally different direction.
100% agree with that, Wes, because Denny Avdia picked up his second foul with just minutes into the first quarter, and his energy that he brings to the court, whether it be defensively, he's been scoring the ball better, but on the glass, like he's another viable option to keep Charlotte off of the offensive board. So just missing him out there really caused Washington a little disjointedness, if you will, off the bench. But Denny Avdia, that's who I called to be the fourth player in terms of scoring ability, production, and another defensive player who has versatility on that side of the court.
Yeah, unfortunately, we weren't able to get more usage out of him tonight, and you talk about something off the bench. We're going to bring in Chris and Drew because I've got a question for them about turnovers. Chris, Drew, of course, a great call. I know you wish it was a win right there in front of your home folks, Chris, but let's talk about turnovers tonight. Washington losing the turnover battle. 14 turnovers from D.C., equaling 24 points for Charlotte in comparison to the 4 for 7 points they have. The Wizards have to correct this, do they not, Drew?
Absolutely. Coming down the stretch, you have the value to basketball. And I blame the Wizards for putting this pressure on themselves in the first half. They dug themselves a deep hole, and they had to play almost a perfect fourth quarter for them to get back into the game and possibly win this game. But once again, what is going on with these free throws, CM? 26 for 35 from the foul line. You left 9 points at the charity stripe again tonight, and you lose by 1. You're doing a great job of fighting back, getting in the ball games, but when you get fouled and you get the call, you're not making these teams pay at the charity stripe. I mean, especially on the road. You saw the figure, 71% the team is shooting this season on the road from the free throw line. Me and you can shoot better than that.
I know you can. I'll just say this: the Charlotte Hornets tried to give this game away. I mean, they literally did everything they could to hand this basketball game to Washington. Just look in the fourth quarter alone, thanks to Paul Evans for sending me this. The Hornets shot 18% in the fourth quarter. 18. A lot of their shots were front rim, Christy, right? Front rim means what?
Legs.
Tired.
No legs. Yep.
But for Washington, and I'm going to say, look, Bradley Beal, hey, great game scoring. 2 costly turnovers down the stretch. He had 5 turnovers in the game against Brooklyn. Stars have to be stars down the stretch. But this is a disappointing loss because it started bad. you know, you cannot come out here on the road. It's hard to win in the NBA, but you cannot come on the road and have lackluster energy. I just didn't like the body language and shoot around. I told Drew that. I didn't feel no pop, no energy. And you get down 22, and then what has to happen? You got to keep fighting, scratching, clawing, coming back. Washington is, it's time for them to get in this locker room and say, look, what are we doing? What are we doing as a basketball team? These free throws, you got to take care of those. Drew and I were at practice yesterday. First thing they did was try to shoot free throws. You got to make free throws in this league, but
Chris, you bring
I'll
up
be quiet.
No, you bring up a valid point because you say that there was no energy during shoot-arounds before tonight's game. I'm going to ask probably a pseudo-obvious question.
Okay.
Is this one of those nights where they were probably looking further down the schedule than they should have been?
I think this is one of those nights where, what are we doing here, like you just asked? Because I asked the question on the bus, like, what are we going to do tonight? This team is 29th in first quarter scoring points. And what did they have, 36 in the first quarter? They set the tone. They brought the physicality. They brought the attack to the Wizards. And I think they gave them, they gave a team that was ready to lose, that showed up to lose, and is used to losing on this home court. And I would say a ray of light. And they took another ray, and then they just built from that and just went on and went on and went on to where you saw yourself in the fourth quarter and one point of this game down 20-plus points. So it started in that first half. You started a forest fire that you just couldn't put out, and it came back to bite you in the end.
But I will say this, though. There are no moral victories. You guys know me. I don't do moral victories. Waking up in the morning is a moral victory to me. But to see what Daniel Gafford was able to do, and Corey Kispert hitting his first 3 threes. I would have loved to see him continue to build on that throughout the game. He got another 3 late, but Gafford is a positive sign. But they're going to have to start figuring out how to put 48 minutes together. That's the hardest part. And what's interesting, that Drew and I have talked about this the last couple of days, is these teams that are 500, below 500, it's not just the Wizards. You can go league-wide and just listen to the press conferences. You know what coaches and players are saying? What's our identity? We're at the quarter pole now. Teams are trying to figure out, who are we? And when you're dealing with a lot of injuries, and again, everybody's dealing with injuries, not just the Wizards, everybody. Teams are just trying to figure out who they are right now.
Right. Hey, Drew, what specifically did you like about the presence of Daniel Gafford, especially in the fourth quarter down the stretch?
I like the presence of Daniel Gafford because of the activity, and he was rewarded. I like what Coach West did, because sometimes, you know, you get the coaches saying, hey, I need more out of this from a player. I need him to do more of this, and then I could give him some more playing time. Well, guess what? Coach West rewarded Daniel Gafford to be a closer tonight with that big lineup with Porzingis. And what I saw was when he went over to go block shots, if he didn't get the block, Porzingis got the rebound. When Porzingis went to go and trap the box defensively to block a shot or contest a shot, and they missed, Daniel Gafford got the rebound. So I like that sequence, and I would say, that synergy between those two bigs tonight. But Daniel Gafford, great job. I know he wished he could have had a couple of those free throws back, going 4 for 10 from the foul line. But you know what? Hats off to him, because he responded and he was rewarded.
Indeed, gentlemen. 10 points, 12 boards, and 6 blocks from the landlord tonight in 24 minutes. Well done. Christian Drew, we appreciate
I didn't even get to the 6 blocks. My bad, Daniel. I didn't get to the 6 blocks.
It's all love, brother. I appreciate it. Christian Drew, as always, safe travels back to D.C. We'll see you Sunday when Los Angeles is in town. Christy, right now we're going to go to head coach Wes Unseld Jr. at the post-game podium and get his thoughts on what happened tonight.
Well, I think the bottom line was very poor first half. And it just wasn't anything schematic. It was just the effort. I think our attention to detail, and all those plays just mount up and gave them life, gave them momentum. That team plays hard. So bottom line, if you don't match and exceed that energy, they'll make you pay. You know, that's a positive. Of course, you get down 22, you fight your way back. 4 chances to take the lead in the fourth. Just don't capitalize on it. But we don't ever want to find ourselves down, 22. It's of course a game of runs, but spotting a team that type of margin is really tough to overcome.
What was happening in the last play?
Some of his fatigue. I mean, he played 40 minutes, and they're trying to put as much pressure on as possible. They know that the ball's going to him, and They're tough ones. They're timely, but we had a handful throughout the course of the game. I think for 24 points. So you don't get shots to the rim. You turn it over. Kind of fuels their offense. That gets them to the line. All the other things that come with it. But we gave ourselves a chance. It's kind of all you can ask for. It's a shame we don't come up with a win, but getting down to that extent and making the ball game is still something it's noteworthy.
That time upcoming next Lakers is coming into town. What are some lessons from this game that you guys can apply to that?
Well, I just think in general, regardless of who it is, the sense of urgency which we have to start games with, the effort and intensity that you have to play with for 48 minutes. It's tough some nights. Whether there's fatigue or whatever, you got to push through it. It was good to have a group there that found a way to compete at a high level, and give ourselves a chance.
Let's start obviously Brad's turnover is really late in the game. Obviously, it's a tough to that game, but what can you say about kind of late game taking care of the ball?
Yeah, it's not ideal, of course, but I think some of it might be just fatigue. He's playing a lot of minutes. When we put the ball in his hands, he makes great plays. I don't think it's anything alarming, but it's something he's aware of. So it's something we have to just keep an eye on. But how do we help ease that a bit? But we're going to put the ball in his hands, and he's going to win us some games. He made play after play to get us to that point. And like I said, we had 4 chances to take the lead. So if I had to bet on it, I'm going to go with him again.
And obviously, before he started the second half, it got really hot. What was it going wrong for Denny?
Sometimes it's not your night. It was going wrong for other guys too. So just wanted to change the energy. Try to find a group, a pairing that was had a good fit to it, but also was competing at a high level. And that group that ended the game, that was the group. Good. Thank you.
That's head coach Wes Unseld Jr. at the post-game podium looking at the reserves for tonight, the Federal Reserves. You see what he did there.
Yeah.
Will Barton with 7 points. Of course, 4 boards and a dime. The landlord gave you 10 points, 12 rebounds. I mentioned the 6 blocks earlier, and a dime. Corey Kispert lightened it up from deep, 14 points, 5 for 8 from the field. Also gave you 5 dimes, and everybody got an assist. So, Christy, I know we've briefly spoken about Daniel Gafford, and we will be talking about him later on in this show. So do me a favor. Grade this bench performance tonight, minus Daniel Gafford, knowing that we'll insert him a little bit later.
Oh, minus Daniel Gafford.
Minus Gafford.
Okay.
That's an easy.
36 bench points, but I thought the energy off the bench was good, and I think that's why Washington was able to fight like they did down the stretch in the fourth quarter. But you heard Wes Unseld Jr. say, hey, listen, we can't come out of the gates without great energy, effort, and focus. And those are just the basic fundamentals mentally when you're talking about competition. So they just have to find a way, like Drew and Chris said, to compete for 48 minutes or however long it takes in overtime sessions. You got to learn how to compete for every single possession, every single minute of those possessions. And right now, the bench is coming in with more hunger. They're coming in with more intensity. They're coming in with that tenacious attitude and mentality that's necessary to fight in games.
What I love about it is if you take Daniel Gafford's 10 points off,
I know,
the
it's hard
Wizards,
to take him out.
The Wizards still won the bench battle.
Right.
26 to 23. So that's why I wanted to bring him in. I want to
Okay.
bring Megan McPeak into the conversation as well. Megan, how you doing? Again, love to see you. Wish it was in a win tonight, but want to get your assessment of what you saw tonight, and more importantly, whatever went wrong, how do the Wizards correct it before Sunday?
Well, I like the fact that the bench, in a situation where they were needed and in a situation where they had an advantage against a riddled Charlotte Hornets team, and I know Chris has continued to say every team right now is dealing with injuries. It's not just the Wizards. But the bench took advantage of the fact that when they went in against the second unit for the Hornets, they made sure that in pockets in those moments, they were the better team. They were the better unit that was out on the floor, and they tried to fight. To Christy's point, they were tenacious, and they continued to fight in this ballgame. So that was what I liked about it. And then when you look at what they weren't able to do down the stretch, much like you saw against Brooklyn, turnovers at costly times. I know I mentioned that to you and Sticks post-game against Brooklyn on Wednesday, but there was costly turnovers throughout that fourth quarter. But you also have to give credit to the Wizards, too. They fought back. In the final 9 minutes of that fourth quarter, they were on a 17-9 run, and they just fell short. Obviously, in this one, didn't get the dub, but it's the fact that they still continue to fight, because at the end of the day, they could have packed this in before the fourth quarter started. They could have easily just been like, you know what, not our night. Let's go home and get ready for the Lakers on Sunday. But they continued to fight, and Coach Wes Unseld was able to try and go as long as possible with the big lineup and be able to see how well KP and Gafford play together. And I think he might have something scientifically, if you're a mad scientist, putting something together with that lineup that he could potentially use on a consistent basis.
Well, Megan, when you're talking about ending a game the way Washington did, fighting from 22 down at one point during this game, what kind of energy are you anticipating going into Sunday's game at home against the Lakers?
I think they've got to continue the energy that they had in those final 9 minutes against this Hornets team. You have to take this and translate it back at home. You're going to be in front of your home crowd. Obviously, they're going to get back late tonight. You're going to be able to practice tomorrow, should they have practice. And then you've got King James and the Lakers coming into town. That's always going to be an energy pickup. Anytime you see the purple and gold, that is one of those teams that you see those colors, and you, for whatever reason, you're just ready to go. Whether it was the late, great Kobe Bryant, the Shaquille O'Neals, the Kareems of the purple and gold. Either way, there is something about the nostalgia of the Los Angeles Lakers franchise that teams pick themselves up. They talk with their chest. The shoulders are rolled back a little bit more. I want to see the energy and the fight and the tenacity that you had mentioned, Christy, from that fourth quarter go into Sunday, because at the end of the day, you're playing a team that is barely in the playoff push right now in the West. Like, if the playoffs started today, the Lakers are barely in that. So take advantage of the fact that this has been an up and down season for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Megan, you're absolutely right. Everybody knows when the Lakers show up, it's just one of those things. The lights get brighter, the tension gets a little bit tighter, and everybody's going to have to show out. I wish we could have gotten this dub tonight to take some momentum into Sunday, but it is what it is. So do me a favor, don't move. We're going to definitely have you back a little bit later on in the show. On the other side, Christy's going to take us in the film room, and we're going to have a deeper discussion about Daniel Gafford, the landlord. Again, getting his number called tonight. What can he do? Not only him, Jordan Goodwin, and the rest of the Wizards' others. We focus on the big three. What about the others and what they can do, especially trying to bounce back into the dub column on Sunday against the Lakers? We'll keep this thing going. Post-game live, back in a moment. DC's big three combined for 68 points tonight down in Charlotte, and that's not the first time they've done that. Matter of fact, it might be a standard. If you don't believe me, check out Chase Hughes in the latest installation of Chasing Stats.
They say good things come in threes, like stars on the DC flag, the Dark Knight trilogy, and in the case of the Wizards, Bradley Beal, Kristaps Porzingis, and Kyle Kuzma. Those three are playing really well right now. They're all averaging 20-plus points with enough games played to qualify for NBA leaderboards. The Wizards are the only team this season that can say that, and the first in 3 years. Only 3 times in the previous 15 years has the team had 3 qualified 20-point scorers, and 2 of them were the Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and Klay Thompson Warriors. The other one was the 2019-20 Boston Celtics, and all 3 of these teams made at least the conference finals. Never before have the Wizards had 3 20-plus scores in a single season. As good as Gilbert Arenas, Antoine Jamison, and Caron Butler were, they never did it. Neither did Wes Unseld, Elvin Hayes, and Phil Chenier. In the case of Porzingis and Kuzma, we're also talking arguably the best seasons of their individual careers. Porzingis just set career highs for points and rebounds in back-to-back games.
MVP chance here in Capital One Arena as Kristaps Porzingis now with a career high 41 points.
He's averaging the second most points in his career on a career-high true shooting percentage, which accounts for threes and free throws.
Corner Kuz. Yes, sir!
Kuzma, meanwhile, is averaging career highs in points, assists, and true shooting percentage. And Bradley Beal is also playing well, with the highest field goal percentage of his career and his best three-point percentage in 5 years. Based on the numbers, it has pretty much been a best-case scenario for them as a trio. Now, the Wizards do have some other areas to clean up as they aim for more consistent winning, but the fact these three guys are playing like this seems like a really good sign moving forward.
Chase Hughes with the latest installation of Chasing Stats. Megan, I got a question real quick. We're talking about the big three, and you look at KP's performance tonight, 6 points in the first half, 15 in the second. Kuzma gives you 14. That's his second lowest he's had in matter of fact, last 10 games. The last time he was under 18 was OKC. He had 18 points at that game. Does this team need to have Kuzma and Porzingis activated early in order for it to carry out to success on the back end?
I don't think it's a need. I think it would be a perfect world because we know that they can turn it on. So that's why I'm saying it doesn't have to be a need or a necessity. It just means that you have to actually get them involved. Getting them involved doesn't necessarily mean them putting the ball in the hoop. It can mean utilizing KP in a pick and roll with Brad. It could be a pick and roll with Kyle Kuzma himself. It could be putting the ball in Kuz's hands, letting Brad play off the ball and Kuz attacking and going downhill, because we have seen the success there. So I wouldn't necessarily say it's a need or a necessity for them to score early and often in every single game, but getting them involved, I think, is very important when it comes to utilizing the fact that then the eyes are not just solely on a Bradley Beal, and then you're waiting for them to turn it on later in the game, and they haven't really gotten involved. So I think if you can get them involved in some capacity within the flow of the offense, it actually bodes well for the Washington Wizards offensively down the stretch, and as well, too, for the big three at utilizing the space that we've seen them play.
Indeed, and you talk about getting them activated early. I think I have to be honest, I get a little spoiled. And I knew this was going to happen when Porzingis starts knocking down 6 threes in the first half. I'm like, I want this forever. And now here I am, spoiled and disappointed. So it's okay. We'll bounce back on Sunday. Megan, we appreciate you, as always, getting ready to see you on Sunday back here in D.C. for the Lakers game. So until then, safe travels, my friend. Now, back to you, my sister.
Oh, hey.
What, you thought I was going to talk to you?
Gonna say.
She's like, what are we doing? Like, no. Here's when I think about the big three, because I talked about the 68 points tonight.
Right.
And yes, I get spoiled like most fans do. When you see three guys going out, putting up 20, 25, 27 at a clip, you're like, why isn't this happening every game? So I can't be mad. I can't be mad. But can we expect more from them?
In terms of consistency, yes. I mean, I think so. I mean, they were a little bit under their averages today if you're talking about Kuz and KP. But when you're talking about Bradley Beal, I mean, he had a tremendous offensive output tonight, but Chris Miller said, hey, those 2 costly turnovers down the stretch, can you put that all together? And my answer to that question is yes. I mean, it's not that it's impossible, it just didn't happen tonight. So I think the expectations are on the table for the big three. But when you have the complementary players, the others coming in off of the bench and being stars in their role, I think that's vitally important to the success of this team and the consistency throughout the 48 minutes that we've been seeking. I think that Washington has the pieces, but can they all be rolling at the same time together? Just 23 assists tonight. They came in 13th in the NBA with 25 assists per game. So that ball got stuck a little bit tonight. It got in one-on-one situations a little bit more than I thought it should have tonight. And that all happened in the first half. But when that ball started moving around, great things started happening in terms of that chemistry we've been looking for.
So it looks like the assessment from the bench is energy.
Yes.
From the starters, synergy.
Yes. Look at you with the
Look at
bars.
us doing what we did today. Taking a look at the final score for the night, 117-116. The Charlotte Hornets get the win. Terry Rozier with 25, Kelly Oubre with 22, but Bradley Beal, season-high 33. Kristaps Porzingis with his 8th double-double of the year with 21 points and 11 boards. But Daniel Gafford, the landlord, got 6 blocks today. Hello. And that's who's in the post-game locker room right now.
Everybody's going to give us their best night in, night out. We got to be able to come out and do the same thing. You know, we got to be able to, if we get punched first, we got to throw that punch. But at the same time, we got to come out and throw the first punch, too. We can't just keep taking punches game in, game out, because it's tough. You know, we'll be playing from behind night in, night out, and it's something that we don't want to do.
How do you get ready for Sunday? You know, kind of turn around, coming back home tonight. How do you get ready for Sunday's game? Big matchup with the Lakers.
Lock in, take care of the body, you know, watch film, learn from this, get ready for the next game. It's the main thing. You know, short-term memory, got to be ready for the next, because it happens just like that.
You and KP shared the floor to close the game out. Do you feel like your role is a little different when you share the floor with him versus being on the bench?
Not really. You know, I'm still doing the same things I'm doing when I'm out there, you know, whether it's like Kuz or anybody else at the 4 spot. You know, I'm the permanent big man out there on the floor. So really, I'm just out there grabbing rebounds, setting screens when I need to, and it's really just trying to space the floor as much as I can. Trying to stay out of guys' way, and when the ball comes to me and finishing around the basket, that's the main thing. Offensive rebound, defensive rebound, and also being an anchor of the defense still, too, when I'm out there on the floor. Oops, all of that.
6 blocks for you tonight. Just talk kind of about your paint presence tonight, and what do you think that did for you, especially there in the second half? You had a lot of really big ones down the stretch.
Really just focusing in and protecting home. You know, I only had 2 fouls tonight, and so really just basically going up there and trying to get whatever I can. Try to protect home because, you know, down the stretch they were getting a lot of easy baskets in the paint. They were getting down, basically getting whatever they wanted down low. So really just being down there and having a presence defensively is something that we needed tonight.
Well, coming up on the other end, 25 years of Capital One Arena. How was the, at the time, MCI Center? Now it's Capital One Arena. How was the bank built? We've got an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at it that you don't want to miss. A trip down memory lane when PostGame Live returns. Welcome back to Wizards PostGame Live. Before we got activated earlier tonight, yeah, we had a little fun because there's an actual Hornet. That is not CG. This is not a green screen. This is Drew Gooden courtside before the game tonight at Spectrum Center in Charlotte.
That's
having a little fun.
Right there. That's my dance. That's my dance.
We forgot the name of that dance. It's not the Cabbage Patch. It's not the Roger Rabbit. Which one was that? Oh my gosh, I got to remember that dance. Feel free to know that I just aged myself telling you that I knew the Roger Rabbit. But it is what it is. I can't be mad at it. But I do have something good for folks tonight. Since everybody was, you know, in good spirits pregame, how about I put you in good spirits right now? The day after the Wizards score 115 or more points, you can get 50% off regular menu price pizzas at papajohns.com with code WIZ50. Now, something else I'm supposed to do, and I will do because I do my job respectfully. Our bold predictions recap brought to you by Greenberg and Vetterman. Go to gblawyers.com and feel better. Tonight's prediction, the Wizards will win the turnover battle by 5 or more points. Now, watch how I twist this and to make it think that I sound like I'm knowing what I'm talking about. All right, I got it wrong. I don't even feel like doing this.
I like Wes wrong. That's what I like on there.
I knew.
Where it says Wes wrong.
Hold on.
I like it. Wait, no, don't.
They're very fortunate that the other thing that I said was not in the bold prediction
You're
tonight.
Right. You're right.
I'm not going to open the door yet. I'm going to wait till a little bit later on. You know what the people want from me right now? The people want to go back in time. Let's go back to 1997, December 2nd. Let's take a trip back in the day. Who was president? I think Bill Clinton was still the president. And you know what was going on?
What was going on?
A new house was being built, a home for the Wizards. Matter of fact, here's how it came to be. Don't ask me. Listen to Robert Poland.
At the time, my father had options he had an option to move to Baltimore. They would just give him an arena for free. Of course, Prince George's County also wanted him to stay, and they were offering him concessions to stay. But my father really, really wanted to move it into downtown Washington because he saw it as an opportunity to help revitalize the city. There were a lot of challenges. It was the common wisdom at the time was you couldn't get anything done in Washington. Marion Barry told my father, look, I will cut through all the red tape for you. We're going to get this done. And, you know, you don't have to have a lot of hassle with bureaucratic nonsense. Now, it's one thing to say that, but it's another thing to actually execute it, to pull it off. And, you know, Marion Barry was good for his word. He stuck with it, and they got the thing built. And, you know, in less than 2 years, it has had the benefits for the community that my father anticipated.
Wow, 25 years, and you can just see some of the celebration. And
I love it.
You know what I love about D.C.?
Man.
I love the energy that this city has. Now, mind you, this is the first game.
Yep.
First one there against
C-Web.
a team that should still be around, the Seattle Supersonics. Shout out to C-Town.
Look at Strick.
Hey, Rod Strickland, dangerous.
Yeah.
C-Web, dangerous. Look, these were some dope. First of all, I'm super excited that we brought out the old uniforms and brought them back. Jawan Howard gets some love. This is against the glove. Oh, who else we got doing it? Hersey Hawkins?
Vin Baker.
Woo! Man, look, y'all got me going now. Billy Clint was the president back then, 97. Final score from that night.
Wow.
95-78. Wizards got the dub. Chris Webber gave you a double-double. Jawan Howard gave you a double-double.
Come on.
I have to be honest. I got to shout out Dead Left Shrimp. I mean, it's just because, man, look.
He's understated. Listen, 17 points and 10 assists in that game. He's an underrated player.
We have to get Seattle and team back. Oh, the Pacific Northwest deserves to have another basketball team. They got a hockey team now. You know, everything's good up there. But thinking about 25 years, of all the years and of all the different iterations of the names and things that have happened in that building, what's one of your favorite memories, Harvey?
Oh man, just so many memories. But I think when Washington was playing Chicago and they upset the Bulls here with Michael Jordan, and they just didn't play well at all. But it was right before the playoffs, and I remember asking Michael Jordan, I said, hey, you know what? Was that a statement game, do you think, by the Wizards? And he just kind of looked at me with the Michael Jordan stare like, seriously right now? But I think it was. I think it was a statement for that young team to come in and just play so hard and so well together and get that win right before the playoffs that season. So that kind of stands out to me because they were so young, but they were playing with a tremendous amount of confidence and purpose. And like you said, the fans were all about it, and it was so much fun.
So many memories. You got you know, John jumping up on the table. You got Paul Pierce calling game.
That was fun too.
I remember the Stanley Cup.
John on the table. That might supersede that's it right there. That's
up there.
That's
Game
up
6
there.
against the Celtics.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
tough.
we like beating Boston.
That was fun.
Anyway, let's take a look. Let's take a look at our FanDuel recap for tonight, making every moment more. Oh boy. So coming into the night, this is what you could have done. Bradley Beal scoring over 28.5 points was plus 102. A $10 bet would have won you $10.20. The Charlotte Hornets total points being under 121.5 was a minus 106. So a $10 bet would have won you $9.43. One of the things that is so important to an outcome of a game, even though Brad was scoring 28.5 points, more than that, he had 33, a season high tonight. Defense.
Yes.
How do you balance this out? Because as much as it's important to score, you know, it's what the final score is about. Right. You still have to stop the other team, Christy.
Absolutely, and that's all about just grinding it out and competing. But you also have to communicate. And there were some coverages tonight, though, to be fair. Okay, there were some coverages. We were watching the game together, and I'm like, you're right there. Perfect coverages, perfect contest, and they were just making tough contested shots that were covered properly. They shifted and moved. They were arriving on the catch. They were containing the paint, right? Even in mismatches and cross matches, they were able to deny, but they were getting deflections in those actions too. And I thought they were doing well with their activity on defense. So it wasn't that they were having miscues and giving up wide open shots. Correct. And you can look at it too. So I'm not trying to be an apologist. You can go look at the tape, right? Okay, they were rotating well and communicating well. And I know that the result of the game is a loss, but the activity was there. So I think when you can continue to grow with your activity on defense, your communication on defense, and getting those deflections, those things are an improvement. It doesn't necessarily mean that you come up with a win all the time, but the effort is there when you're talking about correct coverages.
And it just reminds me that the first half, something about it being up, man. We were down 15 at the half. I think the first 2 quarters could have made a difference tonight. But it is what it is. But I've got a good reminder for everybody in Maryland. Guess what? FanDuel's now live in Maryland. So you can get $200 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. You can download the FanDuel app. Start making every moment more. You know what I want more of, Christy? More Corey Kispert. Put up 14 points tonight, 5 boards. And then he gave you an assist. He gave you a block and a steal. We're going to talk Corey Kispert on the other side. Bench productivity. Heading in the right direction. PostGame Live. Christy, I told the people Corey Kispert was the subject. Let's do it in the film room.
Let's go into this film room, everybody. Bradley Beal drawing all eyes to the basketball on the drive. The kick out to Corey Kispert for one of his 4 threes on that play. And right here, you see KP with it. It's a nice handoff action to Brad. Again, drawing 2 defenders to the ball in the paint. Corey Kispert does a good job of relocating himself to the corner. Got his feet set and knocked that one home, too. And great ball movement, good spacing here. You see Kyle Kuzma driving into the paint. Again, 8 eyes on him as he gets a deep dive into the paint. Corey Kispert once again drains the triple from the outside. And that's what Washington needs to continue to do. Keep great spacing and find each other in moments like that. Commit to the ball and find your teammates on the outside, especially Corey Kispert, who can shoot it.
Indeed. I want to take a look at a stat that I think we should really focus on, because I remember in pregame you had mentioned the first and fourth quarters being essential to Wizards' success. Yeah, I remember that.
I did say that.
Yes, you did. It wasn't too far ago. But the Wizards' fourth quarter differential you see right there, plus 67, outscored Charlotte tonight, 28-10, and they're averaging 27.7 points in the fourth quarter.
Right.
So they're doing that right. It comes back to the full game, Christy, the full thing. Holding a team to 10 points in the fourth quarter in the NBA is remarkable within itself.
Right.
But it all goes back to the fact that we were down 15 at the half. If you're not down 15 at the half, you don't have to walk them down in the back end of the game. So how do we find that balance?
You have to start the game with great energy. That's why I said you have to start strong and then finish stronger. And in that first half, the first and second quarters, the energy was just not there. And when you're talking about consistent effort, it starts mentally first. We're not talking about the physical energy that it takes to compete. It has to be a mental energy and a mental approach to the game where you can stay consistent with it and have that drive and will to win. So it happened in the second half. So that means that obviously it's there. So it just has to be something that is just etched in their spirit to be able to go out there at the beginning from the jump ball to whenever the final buzzer is and to go and do your job and do your work early and consistently. Early and consistently. But that doesn't mean after the first and second quarter, you apply that pressure, and then in the third and fourth quarter, you relax. That's why I said first and fourth quarter. Wes?
That's why I said first and second quarter, and I never said anything about letting up. I just said apply pressure from the gate and make them chase you. I feel it's always, what do they say, second place got the worst view, right? I want to be in front. I want to see the countryside. I want to see the breeze hit my face. I don't want to be chasing you down.
Oh, human nature, though. That's what I'm saying. Human nature.
Who's human nature? My human nature says I got you down, put you down.
It has to be across the board. Everybody has to be on that same page with you, my friend.
And that's why it is a team sport.
Exactly.
Team sport.
And that is the magic of sports. That's the magic of sports.
That's why we love it. That's why we're here,
We love it.
Well, here's Bradley Beal on the post-game podium after his season high 33 tonight.
I think we still had a chance to win. It was a one-point game. I came down, turned the ball over twice, which can't happen. And I had a chance to win the game at the end, and it didn't go down. So, I mean, I feel like we had a good opportunity to win. I think the biggest thing we learned is that we just can't dig a hole like that. You know, we definitely were tired, but at that point, you know, we can't feel sorry for ourselves. We got to dig ourselves out of the hole.
To say last minute, was that frustrating? I mean, because you battled back and you outscored them 28-10 in the fourth.
It's basketball, man. I mean, we got a game on Sunday. You know, that's the beauty of our league. You know, I create amnesia pretty good and rapidly. So, you know, this is behind me. I definitely wish I could have had it. We all do. We competed our asses off, but you know, I think at the end of the day, we dug ourselves a hole, and it's tough to climb out of those and close out games too. So, but we got to, if that's the type of team we want to be, we got to be able to do that. That's on me.
First half, was it something their defense was doing, especially on the boards, or was it you guys kind of self-inflicted wounds?
We didn't rebound. That was plain and simple. We didn't guard and we didn't rebound. Like, I'm never going to talk about offense. Offense, I think we can score with the best of them. We got some really good scorers in here. Really good guys who can put the ball in the basket, but we got to be better defensively. There's way too many straight line drives, way too much pressure on our bigs, us guards. We got to be better on the ball. And then we have to gain rebounds. Us guards, we got to help them help the bigs rebound. You know, they were active on the boards, and that's what kept them in the game in the first half, and that's what kept them getting them second chance points. You know, I think I looked at the half, they were up like 24-12 on the boards. So we had to be a lot better than what we were.
I love Brad's IQ of the game. He's
honest.
Top tier, and he's extremely candid and honest. Two things that stood out to me, and I want to know which one of these you think is a higher priority.
Okay.
He talked about first half rebounding was an issue.
It was.
But at the same time, denying paint access. Which one of those two has to be corrected first before Sunday.
Denying paint access. Top tier right there. And when you have a team like Washington who has quickness on the perimeter, they have to do a better job of containing at the nail area and at both elbows. You cannot have that access. And like Bradley Beal said, you can't have straight line drives to the rim because now it puts you in rotation. Now it does put pressure on the big guys down there in terms of being in position to contest when they may not be physically squared up and ready to do that. And then they can get in foul trouble because of it. So yes, I would say containing the paint is first. And then get a body. Find a body. When that shot is in the air, you need to be on a swivel and finding and hunting bodies and box them out and keep them off the glass.
Is that one of your favorite drills you used to run? Was
Absolutely.
Rebounding drills?
Absolutely.
Coach just throw it up and everybody just finds somebody and puts
Check somebody off and let the ball bounce. You got to maintain that contact. It's not like, okay, I'm going to box out because coach said box out. No, you're going to box out because you want to win and you want the ball. So you're going to keep that contact and secure the rebound.
Well, you know who was doing that a lot tonight, even though it was in a loss? Daniel Gafford. Matter of fact, I enjoyed your film room earlier so much, we're going to run it back. Except this time you're going to talk about the landlord. Gave you 10 and 12 tonight, along with 6 blocks. Christy Winter Scott taking us in the film room on the other side when PostGame Live returns. All right, Christy, film room number 2 is on the landlord.
Film room number 2, let's go. Take a look. Daniel Gafford right there gets switched, but he is still hawking the basketball. And here comes one of those straight line drives to the rim. He's going to put his face in the fan. Look at that right there. He doesn't care. Hey, if he's a meme, so be it. He's going to take that challenge defensively, and he won that one. Daniel Gafford with no fear. And then here, there's great communication on this. There's another switch, straight line drive, denied. Oh my gosh, one of his 6 blocks in the game right at the rim. And not only that, here's another one right there, backing it up with a double dipper. Monte Morris takes the 3 from the corner, but watch the early action to the offensive boards, creating space, going up and corralling it, surrounded by all those players. So don't put it on the floor. Pump fake. Nice little lollipop shot right there. All net. And then on this side, another one. Daniel Gafford is inside fighting in a mud fight with Plumlee, but he's going to maintain contact. Look at the struggle. Look at the struggle. It looks like Elizabeth. Elizabeth, the arm back. Oh, Lord, but he has his hand in there, and he is deflecting. And now Washington can push tempo the other way. Corey Kispert, you know he's hot. 4 of 7 from 3, but it started on the defensive end with Daniel Gafford's constant activity on defense and protecting the rim and staying connected on the glass. That's what it takes to compete in the paint.
I loved him leaning on Kelly Oubre there. I think it was the second to last one. But here's something else I love. Monte and Kyle, a.k.a. Cruz and Mo, childhood friends. You can log on to NBCSportsWashington.com and see both parts of the interview that I had with these guys. Childhood friends in the same starting lineup on the same team and the one and only NBA for the Washington Wizards. It's great. And we'll need to see them in action 2 days from now. December 4th, it's a big game, Cherry Blossom Night as well. City Edition jerseys. Wizards, Lakers pregame live starts at 5:30. Right here on NBC Sports Washington. Chrissy, just a quick, brief look ahead to this game. Tonight, the Lakers beat the Bucks 133 to 129. AD has 44 and 10 boards. LeBron has 28 and 11 assists. Russell Westbrook gives you 15 and 11 assists. Which door do we try to keep locked?
Well, I'm going to tell you what, that's a lot of holes in the boat you have to cover up. So be ready to do that and be ready to keep going. Hey, if something comes unplugged, it's a whack-a-mole. You got to get the job done. But the bottom line is to get it done. But, AD is playing well. I mean, he had 23 points in the first half.
What have we might have seen something tonight.
Bench and
No, I like Gaff and Porzingis.
I do
so I'm like, we might have to roll that out
Go
again.
big,
I'm just saying, and make them have to adjust.
And protect the paint. I think that's going to be something to watch. And that's what we were talking about with Megan McPeak was, hey, what do you see going from the fourth quarter of this game into the Lakers game? And it could be that combination of playing both bigs at the same time.
This is going to be a good game. I don't know if you've gotten your tickets or not. You might want to hurry up and get some because Sunday it's going down. We're going to be looking good for the show. Christy, I wanted to win tonight, but it's okay. We live, We live to see another day, is what they used to say. What was that, Friday?
Yes.
Yeah, watch that too much. On behalf of our great crew here at NBC Sports Washington, and for Christy Winter-Scott, I'm Wes Hall. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night. We'll see you Sunday, 5:30, the Wizards-Lakers on NBC Sports Washington.